The six-figure dream is dead. The success you see online is fake, and hitting a top financial leaderboard will only put a target on your back. You don't need more debt masked as a success, you need an autonomy. Here is the blueprint to outsmart a machine designed to keep you trapped. But first, let's talk about the biggest lie we have all been sold: the six-figure dream. For 30 years, hitting $100,000 a year meant you made it. It meant a house, 2 cars, vacations, and zero panic when you opened your bills. Today, that number is a trap. If you hit $100,000 right now, by the time the government takes its cut, you're left with maybe 70 grand. But here is the twist that will make your stomach drop. Take that 70 grand and adjust it for what things actually cost today. You aren't rich, you're literally living your parents' lower middle class life, just with a higher cell phone bill and a worse mental health. Think about it. Why does a trip to the grocery store for 3 bags of basic food costs $150 right now? Why is a decent one-bedroom apartment in the city where there are actually jobs is costing $2,500 a month? You are doing everything right, but you are paying 2026 prices with the salary concept from 2015. And here is the secret internet is actively hiding from you. Most of the people you see online who look like they're winning, they're flat broke. We have entered the era of the financed life. The luxury car, it's $1,200 monthly lease. The designer clothes, paid for in 4 installments using split payment apps. The vacation, sitting on a credit card collecting 24% interest. Look at the data. Right now, 40% of the people who are earning over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. And the median savings account for an American under 35 is just $5,000. That means the guy driving the brand new BMW next to you at the traffic light is exactly one bad corporate layoff from losing everything. It's the house of cards. Let that sink in. If the people winning the game are just masking their panic with a nicer dad, why are you killing yourself to get to where they are? If doubling income doesn't buy security anymore, what does it actually buy? The answer is terrifying, because the system has realized a long time ago that if you ever feel secure, you stop working. So they build a machine to make sure you stay hungry, no matter how much you make. Let's look at what actually happens inside your brain when you start making more money. There is a psychological trap called lifestyle creep, but nobody actually explains how it feels. When you're broke, you think a 20% raise will save your life. You get it. And instead of saving it, you get yourself a slightly nicer apartment. Within exactly 90 days, that new elevated lifestyle stops feeling special. It just feels like your new baseline. Your brain completely adapts to the new comfort. Suddenly, the things that used to be the luxury upgrades feel like absolute necessities. You aren't any happier, you have just raised the cost of your new survival.
Like so many others, I had become a slave to the IKEA nesting instinct.
Yes, I'd like to order the Erica Picari dust ruffles.
And this is where the algorithm completely ruins you. In the old days, you only knew what your friends or co-workers were buying. Today, your phone forces you to look at a curated global leaderboard of luxury. Even if you are doing well, you feel poor because you are comparing your regular Tuesday afternoon to someone else's highlight reel in Bali.
I bought my own car with my own money cash. I don't need my husband to buy me anything, babe. And don't disrespect me. I can buy you any day.
Be honest with yourself. How many things have you bought in the last 6 months because you actually needed them, versus how many things you bought just to prove to the world and to yourself that you aren't failing? We're trading our actual real-world freedom for the things that just sit in our closets.
I have a fucking problem. This is all the shopping that I've done within the last 2 to 3 weeks. I think this is gonna be my biggest haul. The bigger the haul, the more trashed my mental health is.
The system loves this. A stressed, insecure consumer who is deep in debt is the perfect worker. You can't quit your job, you can't take risks, and you can't speak up because you need to fund the lifestyle your brain got used to. You didn't buy luxury, you bought a golden cage.
You see, pal, that's who I am, and you're nothing. Nice guy? I don't give a shit. Good father? Fuck you. Go home and play with your kids. You want to work here? Close.
But let's look at the people who actually maximize the game, the ones who hit the top of the leaderboard. Because a corporate elite are hiding a dark truth about what happens when you finally get everything you've been fighting for. Let's stop pretending that getting rich solves your problems. Once you clear the baseline of basic survival, making millions doesn't fix your stress. It just upgrades your problems from basic to lethal. The moment you become successful, you stop being a human being to the outside world. You become a walking ATM, a target. Your family dynamic is usually the first thing to fracture. Look at what happened to NFL star Tyron Smith. His own relatives literally harassed him at his training camp over his contract, forcing him to hire off-duty police officers just to keep his own parents away from him. When you have money, people stop asking how your day was. They start pitching you business ideas and asking for loans they have zero intention of paying back. And that's just inside your own home. In the outside world, the legal system instantly turns into a weapon against you. Frivolous lawsuits are just a regular Tuesday when you have deep pockets. Scammers will literally manufacture crises, fake injuries on your property, or twist contract language because they know your bank account can afford a payout. You end up handing over a $20,000 settlement just to avoid a $50,000 court fee to fight it. It's a little extortion, and it happens every single day. At that point, your physical freedom disappears entirely. You think you want a mansion, but you end up living like a high-profile fugitive. Look at the data. Tech elites like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg spent tens of millions of dollars a year on private security forces. Why? Because of stalking, kidnapping threats, and cyber extortion. You can't walk down a normal street, eat at a regular restaurant, or take a walk without the team of guys wearing earpieces clearing the perimeter first. But the psychological damage is worse, because wealth forces the absolute death of trust. You can't fully trust a new business partner or romantic interest. Every compliment feels like a sales pitch. Every favor feels like an invoice waiting to be sent.
Why should I sail with any of you? 4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded.
You find yourself forcing people to sign non-disclosure agreements just to date you or hang out at your house. Think about how cold and paranoid that makes your private life. That isolation is why your own brain chemistry eventually betrays you. Psychologists call it sudden wealth syndrome. When you get rich fast, you don't feel happy, you feel acute panic. You realize that your lifelong excuse, "I'm only miserable because I'm broke," was a complete lie. Look at the tragic story of Jack Whitaker, who won a $315 million jackpot, was constantly robbed, faced endless lawsuits, and openly stated before he died that he wished he had just torn the ticket up. Worst of all, you become a slave to your own overhead. You buy the penthouse, the beach house, and the luxury cars, but they require the maintenance, the staff, the massive property taxes, and the management. Suddenly, your monthly bills are $40,000 a month just to keep your status symbols running. You can't take a year off, you can't pivot, you have to keep grinding the high-stress job to fit the lifestyle monster you created.
I'm very proud of how I look. Yes, I am high maintenance, but I think you gotta be. And frankly, I enjoy it.
Let's be completely brutal here. Are you actually ready to handle being hunted? Are you ready to live in a world where your net worth is 7 figures, but your circle of safety is microscopic? Because if you don't know how to protect your peace of mind before you get the money will just finance your absolute destruction. So if the bottom of the game is an inflation trap and the top of the game is a paranoid prison, how do you actually win? How do you actually build an unstoppable financial life without turning yourself into a target for the rest of the world? Look, I didn't lay out all the dark realities of money to convince you to stay broke. Being broke sucks. It's stressful, it's restrictive, and it ruins your health. Money is an incredible tool, but it's only a tool. If you don't know exactly what you're building with it, you'll end up building your own prison. To maintain a balanced perspective in a world that gone completely insane, you have to ruthlessly redefine what success actually looks like. True wealth is measured in one specific metric: autonomy. It's the percentage of your day that you completely own. Think about the math of the real life. If you make $300,000 a year, but your entire existence is dictated by a corporate calendar, client emergencies, and an existential dread that prevents you from turning off your phone on a weekend, You aren't rich. You are just a high-yielding asset owned by someone else. You're a luxury employee. The smartest people playing this game practice what I call invisible wealth. They make elite money, but they choose to live a completely baseline middle-class life. They don't buy the penthouse that turns them into a target for legal predators. They don't buy the flashy status symbols that trigger toxic envy in their families. They use their money to buy their time back. They buy early retirement. They buy a freedom of saying no to the people they don't respect. If you want to survive this hyper-capitalist landscape without losing your mind, you have to sit down tonight and audit your definition of enough. Write down the exact number it takes to cover your peace, your health, and your freedom. Because if you don't set that finish line for yourself right now, the market will gladly define it for you. And the market's answer is always just a little bit more. Stop waiting for a magical bank balance to finally allow you to breathe. The heavy weight in your chest won't disappear when you hit $1 million. It disappears when you stop letting a digital spreadsheet dictate your self-worth. Look at your envy. Stop chasing the shadows of people who are secretly miserable. I'm going to leave you with this one final question to sit with tonight. If your bank account was full, but your time was completely empty, would you actually be successful, or would you just be the most accomplished prisoner in the yard? Think about it. I'll see you in the next one.